Welcome to the latest episode of the Forecast in 5. I'm your host, Seth Katz. Joining us today is Jila Javdani. Jila serves as president of Slalom's U.S. West region. In this role, Jila leads strategic growth initiatives, fosters client partnerships, and champions a people-first culture to drive successful business outcomes across the Western U.S. With 30 years of management consulting and industry experience, she brings a breadth of business, technology, industry, and people acumen to drive measurable outcomes across the enterprise. Jila is a results-oriented, people-first leader who thrives on growth and impact for businesses, team members, and communities. Welcome, Jila. Appreciate you being with us today.
Thank you for having me, Seth.
Of course. Well, let's get started with the questions. What makes Slalom unique compared to other firms across the technology and business consulting space?
So I've been at Slalom over 18 years, and what attracted me to Slalom all those years ago is the same thing that keeps me there today, that we are purpose-based, vision-based, value-driven, and those elements are not just posters on a wall. They are the underpinning of our global expertise and our local connections. We have a global workforce at this point. When I joined, we were a small little consulting firm. But what keeps us core is the relationships that are underpinned by that purpose, vision, and values with our clients and with our team members. We have a model where we also have no wanted travel. Our people can live in the communities where they work. But if they want to travel, they can also do that as well. Being purpose, vision, and values driven as well also enables us to be deeply ingrained in our communities. We care about what happens in a particular geography where we live, and we're not just about to jump onto a plane into another geography. And all of those pieces together creates a really unique value proposition, both for our team members as well as for our clients.
Very helpful. Previously, you served as Slalom's general manager for Seattle. Can you reflect on this experience and how it helped you prepare for your current role, where you have much more responsibility for leading a large region across the U.S.?
Absolutely. At the time I was general manager for the Pacific Northwest. The Pacific Northwest, has been our largest market within Slalom, and we represented a diverse set of talent, clients, and industries, from small and mid-market to nonprofit clients to the large enterprise technology companies that the Puget Sound is very well known for. And having to blend such a wide swath of customers really prepared me to scale up to do the same across the West region. Seattle was also our original market, and we were a trailblazer and had to figure a lot of things out on our own before we had the company structure in place that we do today. And those lessons learned were valuable to have experienced as I see other markets starting to encounter some of the same roadblocks or situations as they mature and grow. I'll also say I've also had the opportunity across the years, by nature of being at Slalom for so long and being a part of our headquarter office, to deeply understand our organization and lead company-wide transformations. These efforts both help me build my relationships across Slalom, but also help me provide a broader lens of learnings. In any role, there's a balance of caring for people, for clients, for community, and for partner. And this is critical in my role now across the West, as it was in my role in the Pacific Northwest.
Fantastic. Relationships need to be maintained in any business, and I know in your industry it's so critical. Can you touch on the importance of growing these relationships and why they're so essential to a company's success?
For sure, especially in consulting. Consulting is all about selling and delivering outcomes, and crafting the ability to achieve them. Relationships, trust, knowledge, and credibility are all foundational to our executive clients when they want to partner with a firm to achieve an outcome. And oftentimes, this is one where it is critical to their organizations or their own personal professional success. Clients are also willing to share relationships with their networks and with their peers. And, I think a big piece of recommendation or advice would be to build from trust and relationships from the start. They don't happen overnight. They require a lot of fostering over time. I will also say clients move from company to company, and with strong trust and relationships, they also bring us into new clients and new opportunities. So, relationships in consulting are absolutely critical, and they have to be built upon credibility and trust.
Well said. Since we have many UCLA Anderson students watching with aspirations to advance into a senior executive role within the tech consulting space as you have, is there some advice that you could share?
Sure. First, I would say keep your sights set high, but don't let that prevent you from doing the small stuff that is maybe not all that exciting. You can learn something from everything you do. I'd also say be curious. Bring a learner mindset to everything you do. Lifelong learning, especially in consulting, is absolutely critical. I'd also say yes. Some of my most meaningful, impactful opportunities have come because I've leaned into something that could be unexpected. If a door opens for you, go through it. Um, and then one of the other pieces of advice I've always given is do one thing every week that scares you. It might feel overwhelming. It might feel like there's a mountain in front of you. But if you do one thing every week that scares you, at the end of a year, when you look back and you look back at what scared you that very first week or even that very first month, it's not going to seem so scary anymore.
Those are outstanding pointers. The technology consulting landscape is undergoing a period of significant transformation with AI-driven insights, automation, the role of data analytics, and so much more. What do you believe the industry will look like over the next decade?
For sure. In 2030 or 2035, the most valuable consultants won't necessarily be the ones who know the most. They're going to be the ones who can orchestrate the most value for their clients. And this can be solely through the use of AI or really through AI-enabled activities. AI, at least right now, can't fully compensate for experience. That lens will always need to be applied to drive anything through AI. The ability to apply knowledge about the subject, the environment, the situation at hand, and the people all together is something that AI really can't do, and that is inherent in the role of a consultant. There's also significant focus right now, and I would imagine this to be far into the future, about building adaptable organizations. Organizations whose people and structures and ways of working can readily adapt to new changes, and it can adapt at speed. The human component of organizations will continue to be critical as we move through the next decade. It is the human component that's prompting the tools, that's training the agents, that's powering the agents, and in fact, that's leading the organization. So, needless to say, I don't see robots taking over anytime in the near future.
Excellent. And that brings us to the end of today's episode. Thanks so much for being with us today, Jila.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. And thanks to all our viewers for tuning in. We'll see you on the next episode of the Forecast in 5.